No.
So like I was saying, you guys want to know who the real asshole is.
He really did that. I lost all respect for him. That's crazy. No, not him. No, I was just being joking.
No, I got
you. Okay. No.
Look, we can only say so much with all these ears listening.
That's true.
It's a big secret. Oh, we're doing a show. Whoa. Wow. I hope everybody's taking it seriously. All 5 people. All right. We're really ready this time, gang. What's happening, Stokastic basketball fans? Welcome to the No House Advantage NBA strategy show for Thursday, the 22nd of December. Look at this professional intro that I'm going to break in half right now by talking about how well I just did that intro. That's like the best one I've done. I knew the day, the date, and everything. Probably because it's 3 days before Christmas. I actually knew what date it was. I knew that it was Thursday because my parents are coming to pick me up like right after the show to take me back home for Christmas. But right now, we're going to break down this monster 2-game NBA slate. And I'm here with my pal Gun. Gun, what are you up to? What's going on for the holidays around your way, buddy?
Here, not much. It's in Texas. It's getting to a week of below freezing. So I do fear for us. I don't know if you call it last time.
The state of emergency yet?
It's not yet, but
evacuating.
But my dumb self hasn't ordered groceries yet, so I probably should do that today. Last time, do you remember when the national media, when we got like snowed in for a week? And we couldn't. Yeah, people
were dying on the highway because there was a quarter-inch of snow. Yeah, I remember.
I never paid attention to the news, and I'm a DoorDash don't cook guy. Oh, it was bad. I didn't eat like for a week. I was like eating dry noodles. The first day that something was open, I swear to you, I spent $100 on Domino's because there was no groceries. So I was like, fudge. My bro was like, yo, this Domino's is open. You want anything? I was like, yeah. So I just like PayPal'd him $100 and he brought me pizza that we had for days.
Me sustenance.
So hopefully I don't have to do that.
I mean, it really is amazing when you're in those situations, though, how quickly like shit can just be gone and just shut down. Like we had the Hurricane Sandy that blew through here, Superstorm Sandy, and I was in Hoboken, which got flooded out, shut down for like a week. Couldn't get out of my apartment, couldn't get anything, and it's just like you're like instantly a refugee. It's like holy shit, all this modern convenience and everything just bang like that. It's pretty incredible, but at least here that was a giant hurricane, not an inch of snow, but. Texas is Texas. You guys have your upside too, I suppose. Anyway, we've got all sorts of stuff to talk about. Like I said, we got a 2-game NBA slate. Fortunately, we've also got a Jaguars versus Jets game to watch. So it's just going to be an exciting night of sports. Should be interesting, but there's slates for everything. No House Advantage, obviously bringing us a great slate of action with their content. It looks like there's a few really strong picks to fill out these cards. So if you guys don't know, if you haven't been paying attention, they run 2 different types of contests. We'll get into it a little bit later on, but the ones we're going to be talking about here on the show are the against the field contests, where there are some kind of big broad spreads that they put out. And even on a 2-gamer, they've got some that are pushing the 90+% range, and it's different names on the unders here, Gun. So why don't we start out on the under side of things? By the way, everybody hit the old like, the subscribe button out there, and we'll get started here. So we've got Corey Kispert, Larry Nance Jr., and Zach Collins, all 98 or above percent who go under their PRA totals, 15.5, 26.5, 28.5, respectively. I assume you like all 3. Do you have any pushback on the math on any one of those? You want to dive into any one of those in particular?
No, I think all these are fantastic.
It's going to be a long show if you're going to say, no, we're not going to talk about these with 2 games.
Corey Kispert, maybe this line was priced for Bradley Beal's couple games being out. And now that he's back in the rotation, Kispert's already a guy that doesn't do much when he's out there. So less minutes, even less usage. Under looks fantastic. Larry Nance back up to J-Val here. 26.5 is a pretty beefy line, even if he started. So the fact that he's playing a backup role here and sharing minutes with Hernan Gomez. The only pushback to that would be Zion Williamson is out. Maybe he picks up some extra minutes, and it's against the San Antonio Spurs, the Spurs' worst defense in basketball. So there is a range of outcomes for that to hit, and maybe on a 2-game slate where a lot of cards are going to look exactly like each other. There's a chance that we take the over on some Nances just based on what they might roll up as a starting lineup. But right now, a lot of sites are projecting like Herb Jones and Najee Marshall to start. So I will say maybe 99% under on Nance isn't truly 99% in my gut, but I would still lean the under. And then Zach Collins being at 28.5. Yeah, I would still lean that with Jakob Pertl being back last minute, less uses for Collins. So I agree with all of them, but there's more pushback on the Larry Nance one than any of the other ones with Zion being out.
Yeah, it just seems like more of an opportunity for Nance versus the other guys there. Are there any other big injury concerns or anything like that you're keeping your eye on for these two games? We didn't tackle what we normally do up at the top of the show. So let's circle back to that. What are you looking at just kind of that might impact some of these props or, DFS wise as well?
Well, Larry Nance has a GTD tag on him from what I'm looking at. So that would be one.
Okay, there we go.
But I'll clean that up. Porzingis is somebody that has a tag on him, and then Sexton has a tag on him, and Sexton has actually missed the stretch of games. So that would be notable because it might mean a little less minutes for Conley Clarkson, but mostly less minutes for the backup guards here. So I'm going to the chart. Let me see what's the deal with Nance here, because if he were to be out, then that would just kind of void that pick altogether.
Yeah, that makes sense to skip over that one, but could potentially create some downstream impact that we can see if we can uncover what that looks like. In the meantime, while you're checking that out, let me tell the gang here, I forgot to mention, first off, hit the like and the subscribe, which I did mention, but I'll remind you again. And then if you guys want to join up for the Stokastic Hall of Fame, what you have to do, first off, the big step is you have to place in the top 3 in a contest with over 5,000 entries in it. Fortunately, with all of our projections, all of our content and our tools and everything like that, makes it pretty easy to do. So once you've done that, you need to do it with a Stokastic avatar in your DK, your FanDuel, et cetera, account so that we can see it. You tweet that at Stokastic HOF with a little screenshot and talk about your win. Our guys will kick that back out. You'll get featured on one of the HOF segments on one of our shows, and you'll get yourself a free month of Stokastic Plus. So that's pretty solid there. Gun, did we find anything on Larry Nance?
Yeah, he's doing a right Achilles soreness, so he's officially questionable. He missed the last game, and he was limited at practice on Wednesday, so didn't go through any contact drill. So if I had to lean one way or the other, that seems like it's closer out than in, but it's close. It's just speculation. So yeah, if you guys are playing on NHA and Larry Nance gets rolled out, it's the first game at lock. Just know that would just void that bet, so you don't play it.
Does that give any kind of a nudge to some of these Joval overs that we're seeing currently, like his points at 14.5? We've got him projected at 18.3, 75% to go over. His rebounds, 9.5. We've got him projected 71% to go over. He's in like mid 60s to those, to the 75% one there. Do you see those, kind of getting a little bit more warm and fuzzy with no Nance coming in, pressuring his minutes or anything like that? Or do they stay kind of put and nothing else on no house is impacted? Because that's really the only other big man here.
No, that for me, that would be close to a 90+%, considering the matchup. The Spurs are just terrible on defense, and you take the two biggest useless guys on the Pelicans, Brandon Ingram, Zion Williamson, down. And like you said, if Nance were to be down, like this is, if there's ever a shot for J-Val to play 30 minutes, like this should be it. And yeah, he just had that monster game against the Bucks, I believe. So I'm already, no matter what, I'm slamming that over on J-Val points just because of the 60% usage being off the court.
Yeah. That one seems to make a ton of sense regardless. I mean, 75% feels almost a little bit light. We've got him projected 4 points beyond it. Just seems easy, but the other ones I think do gain some ground, and the PRA probably looks pretty solid at that rate too.
Yep.
So let's see. Nobody else really from the Pels. Maybe some downstream for like McCollum, just more points and more usage and stuff available. I would guess. So maybe some nudge in his direction, but those are all going from like the mid 40s, low 40s, low 50s. So I wouldn't think they'd jump as high up into like the 80s, 90s, like we're expecting for J-Val here. So probably some difference there. Let's see. What are we expecting from? Let's take a look at when we look at the other game, the Washington-Utah game. You mentioned Kristaps Porzingis potentially being out. Do we have a read on his status and then anything that would come from him potentially being off the court here that you're seeing?
Yeah, he is questionable with non-COVID illness. He's on the verge of missing his second straight game due to an illness, per Josh Robbins. So if he does miss, we'll keep an eye on that. And that would create an opportunity. We've actually seen Taj Gishman start, but the last time Daniel Gafford started. So there's a range of outcomes for either other to start. But no matter what, the interest for me would be for Gafford. Do we have a line on Gafford? Because sometimes
I'm just, not on the against the field one that I'm looking at here. It might be available in the against the house lines, or it might pop into there. I think they're more aggressive about changing them, where these ones, like we talk about a lot, stay static. They get released in the morning. So you see stuff drop off in our projections when things change, but the lines don't actually change. So we've got some lines on guys that could potentially be impacted. Like we might just see an availability usage. It's an opportunity impact to Kyle Kuzma, who was sitting in like the 60s and up into the mid 70s to 82%. But one, like his 82%ers, his threes, 82% to go over 1.5 threes already with KP in. So if KP comes out, just, potentially more looks. His assists was sitting 69%. His points 19.5 was sitting 59.7. So would you like Kuzma's points to probably go up a little bit from there if we see the KP scratch?
Yeah, I would. That'd be one way I would lean. We've also seen some ridiculous rebound games from Kuzma. I would say Gafford's pretty active in the front court. Kuzma's rebound opportunity is only 11% without Porzingis with Beal. However, Kuzma's been playing like 38, 40 minutes a game. So on a 2-game slate, those type of minutes is just something I would add to the pocket of stuff I want to sweat. And if Porzingis was down, I'd probably lean overs on everything for Kuzma. And I think points would be the most interesting for me.
Yeah, the points one I think is the one that I would probably zero in on there. The rebounding one currently 8.5 is the line. We've got him actually projected 58.5% probable to go under with an 8.08 projection, but basically right on the line. So if you figure KP comes out, there's definitely going to be some more opportunity there. Let's talk real quick. We'll clean up the business end of this and talk about No House Advantage real quick. As you guys can see, based on these player props that we're talking about and these probabilities and the different way that we're looking at this stuff, they're really bringing in the most dynamic fantasy sports platform available today. You can play multiple types of ways. You can play against the pick'em contest, against other people, against guys like Gunn, against players like Alex and Adam, Ship My Money, and people like that from the site. You win up to $25,000 in cash if you max out on one of those. You just download the app, choose a contest, select your players, props, and climb the leaderboard when you make your correct picks. You can also test your skills against the house, win up to 20 times your entry fee if you hit all your picks. So that one, you're just playing with tighter lines, but you're playing against the house. You're not playing against a big field of players. You're not worried about chopping, which we'll get into in a second and talk a little game theory with only 2 games on the board. You're just trying to max out your card against the house here. You can bet up to 5 player props, over unders, or individual player matchups across every major sports league, including NFL and NBA, college football. It still says the World Cup coming soon, probably because I haven't updated this. I'm not sure. I don't know if that's in our read or if I just haven't updated our read. There might be something else in there now. So who knows? Go over to No House and check it out. Be sure to check out the lineup generators, projections, and all that good stuff that we've got up at Stokastic as well for No House Advantage. There's a $50 free deposit match bonus as well. So click through the links, go over, sign up at No House Advantage today, take advantage, did it again, of the $50 deposit match. And there's also overlay on all these contests. So a lot of ways to make money over at No House Advantage. Go check them out. I'm hearing some beeping. I don't know if that's because my dog's tail was just banging into a bunch of stuff, but let's dive back into this here, Gun. We've got some other high-end picks. What about a Monte Morris sitting at 89.1% to go under his PRA? What's the impact of that if KP comes out? Is that another one that would change? Like it would come down dramatically enough that you would say, hey, maybe that's going to be a guy that I'll chase the over, or would that just maybe come down in probability of going under just based on some additional opportunity and everything? Obviously not a direct positional impact.
Yeah, it might be a net negative just because Monte Morris, his only saving grace as far as accruing stats is really assists these days. Has without Beal, with Beal on, Kuzma on, Porzingis off, not a ton of sample, but we've seen an 11% usage, which is crazy that a starting point guard could have an 11% usage. But the assist at 21%. So like having one less, active shooter Whoa, I don't know if I could say that on YouTube. At 20, God dang it.
You don't want to say that.
I just got a shadow ban.
Banned.
Yep. But yeah, I would normally I would
to get swatted.
I would tend to lean. God dang it, I've lost it. I would tend to lean the under on Monte Morris any day.
Yeah.
The only pushback is, hey, it is the Utah Jazz. They are a team that likes to have high scoring games, so there is a pop game for him every now and then, but almost 95% of the time I'll take his unders if Bradley Beal, Kuzma, and Porzingis are all active. And I think I would need Beal out to really feel good about taking his overs on any given.
Don't look at anything for that. Yeah. I think that makes some sense. You really would have to have him be the focus guy, as we've seen, very minimal times. Speaking of those Utah Jazz, as we flip over to some of the overs here, there's a very interesting Mike Conley assists sitting at only 4.5. We've got him projected to blow the doors off of that, 98.4%. We've also got Lauri Markkanen, the second highest, at 90.5% to go well over his 1.5 threes made line. Do you like those two?
Yeah, Conley's very that line definitely seems very low. He has like a 34% assist rate on the season. That's just a really good number for anything that's like under 7, really. So good value on that line. Even if Sexton's back, I don't know that's going to hugely impact his minutes or his ability to clear that. So yeah, I'm in agreement with the Conley line. And what was the other one? Markkanen?
Lauri Markkanen to go over 1.5 threes.
Yeah. I would be on that.
It makes a man feel good to have that one.
Especially without Kelly Olynyk.
Yeah, and it's interesting because we've got him projected 3.16, and it was one like, I reacted kind of the same way. I saw it and I was like, all right, yeah, why not? And as I'm looking at it, taking 6.7, making 2.9, shooting 44% from 3. So it's not one of our really high volume guys, but he's only got to make those 2 for me, right? So he's only got to go out and have his average game, and like you said, potentially a couple more looks at it. So I think I like that one. 90.5%. Maybe we knock it down a peg in our card and slide in some of those high 90s unders above it, but I think it's very usable there. You mentioned Jakob Poeltl coming back. His rebounding one is sitting as a fairly strong over. It's a 7.5 line. We've got him projected to go about 9.5. What do you think on that
one? So I guess what I would be concerned about, this is his 3rd game back. In each game, he hasn't exceeded 22 minutes. And if that's going to continue, then we would have to be concerned about his rebounds, because 7 and 5 rebounds those first 2 games. The last game maybe could have been a little bit scoreboard influence, but the Miami game is really close. And I guess he was in foul trouble last game. So I guess let me pull up the rotation from that game. There's a chance that
impact from Keldon not being available tonight.
That would be a plus for that would be a plus for him as well. Exactly. All right. So looking at that Spurs Rockets game, Jakob Poeltl and the starters really didn't close that game out. So maybe there's a chance that he was going to play more than 22 minutes. So 5 fouls in 22 minutes and a blowout. So maybe, 25, 26, creeping up on what he could probably play here. It just seems like they're working him back. So
yeah,
a rebound line, what did you say was 7?
7.5.
7.5. Whew. The only pessimism I have is the potential minutes limit.
Okay. And that's fair. I mean, that's going to be a crucial couple of minutes there to get to this line. He's averaging 9.5, but he's doing that in 26.7 minutes. To your point, 22 minutes, 21 minutes, the last 2, his first 2 back. We've got him projected for 25-1, which is what's supporting our rebounding projection here, but that could definitely be a little bit more fragile than it feels at the, than it looks rather at the 83.5% we got it at. So interesting one to watch there. We talked about Kuzma on the 3s already. Let's see, go down the board a little bit. What about Malik Beasley on the 3s? 2.5 is the line.
Ooh, okay. So this is where Colin Sexton status would probably mean something. I think Beasley has been enjoying, double-digit shot attempts, and I don't necessarily know that would change, but I do think there's a chance that could negatively impact him. I think for now, though, I would lean with you said it was 1.5 for the 3s.
2.5.
2.5. Oof.
Meaty.
Yeah, that one's a little higher. But on a 2-game slate, you're gonna have probably 5 picks in your card that are a little uncomfortable. So yeah, I would still lean over as of now, but if Sexton's back, maybe that's the one of those I run both ways in multiple entries.
Mm-hmm. Yep, I think that makes sense. And look, like you said, he might get fewer looks there, particularly if Sexton comes back. 8.6 a game right now, making 3.3, shooting 38%. So there's support there, but it could definitely be another one that's a little bit fragile, a little bit more fragile than it looks like on the board there. Talk to me a little bit about the game theory of it just being 2 games with, like you mentioned, so many collisions at the top with everybody's going to be using a lot of the same very high probable picks. What do you do to mix things up, try to get as unique as you can on these kind of a night?
Yeah, I've run into this problem on big slates and small slates because it on NHA you don't even have to worry about duplicate cards. It's just the fact that scoring is definitive. Like you can only score so much, so you can have multiple perfect cards on the bigger slate, and I've run into more problems on those slates. But on these smaller slates, there's so many less options that there is going to just be duplicate cards out there. So it pays to be more contrarian. So if you guys have worked on your showdown craft where uniqueness is essentially better than optimal pre-flop, it's kind of the same here. Uniqueness is going to be more rewarding. If it hits because you'll be more alone. So I would probably look at some of the more trendy picks, and I know ownership projection is not really a thing yet, but you can kind of tell what's going to be chalk for NHA. Probably take the other side, and if you're a multi-entry guy, take the other side on some of the chalkier picks for the high confidence ones, and that'll make you extremely different in the field. So we had talked about the Nance one. I think there's a good chance he didn't play, but as an example, if he did play tonight and everything was pointing towards the under because of Zion being out in the matchup, that'd be one of those, I'd fire off a 10 confidence over on him just to be that much different than the field because of
trying to pick off a big score that nobody else is going to have there. Makes a lot of sense. And that's a good point as well about just the scoring is also a part of what creates the duplication. It's not necessarily people using all the same picks, that if they get them right, they score the same amount. So they add up to the same totals a lot of the time. So yeah, anything you can do to differentiate on either a very large or a very small slate, to your point, that makes a definite impact. Any other ones that you want to call out? Any that you were looking at earlier in the day or anything like that before we wind things down?
No, nothing really that I wanted to get. I thought the Bradley Beal line was like going to be a sweat no matter what. If Porzingis was down, maybe I look at Beal's PRA a little bit harder. Right now we have them projected for the under, so maybe that's another one of those high usage guys. If they're projected that much on the under, keep them in your back pocket for the over as well, and try to skin the cat in different ways.
I like that approach very much. And definitely with a guy like Bradley Beal, KP or not, we've got it at 75% to go under. It's a 35.5 line on the PRA, 30.88 is our projection. But we've all seen those nights where Bradley Beal can just go off and light it up. He has not been doing it all that much lately. And he's, I think wants to play himself out of Washington probably. But I think there's definitely support for that idea that on a night where things are going to be really tight and we're looking for some differentiation with a little bit of risk tolerance in our pocket, and a guy like Bradley Beal, I think you could definitely flip that to the other side of the card and potentially make some money on it. So that's some great advice. Hopefully people are picking that up. We had some great people in the chat, a lot of talk about the snow potentially coming in the south. That guy AZ King 480 came in and dropped his note where this guy really, really likes Arizona sports. Suns is the best team in NBA, and the Arizona Wildcats are the best team in college basketball. I'll read that one out on the show for you, AZ King, because you're putting so much effort into dropping that into every chat that we've got lately. So thanks for coming by, everybody. Hit the like, hit the subscribe. Gun, tell people where to find you, buddy.
Twitter, YouTube /Gundacker.
All right. With that, have a happy holidays, Merry Christmases, happy Hanukkahs, all that good stuff out there, gang. I'll be seeing you guys again on Christmas Day with our pal EMAC. We're going to be doing the football show that day. We've got some content coming the rest of the day. Oh, Mikey's going to be joining us for that one. Mike Lawrence, our great producer, who's been with us for this show behind the scenes and putting all this great content in front of you guys' eyeballs. So we'll be joining you guys on Christmas Day. But for the rest of today, we've got some stuff coming up for this weird day of sports. 6 o'clock NBA NBA Deeper Dive, 7 to 8 NBA Live Before Lock, simultaneously 7:15 to 8:15 NFL Showdown Live Before Lock. So make sure you guys are tuning in for all of that. I'm Terry McBride. That was Gundacker. This was the No House Advantage Strategy Show. Go check it out. Also check out our lineup optimizer and free projections for No House to build better lineups. See you guys. Good luck.